Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Mike Bass back again with another forecast update for you for this August the 28th, 2023. I'm hoping everybody's having a great Monday out there so far. Everybody has a great Monday afternoon. Everybody continue to stay safe and well, and also enjoy the weather because it's the only weather you got. Okay, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the tropics here. We're going to take a look at the tropical weather outlook for you today and the tropical Atlantic. Also, we're going to take a look at the information on might as well say major hurricane Franklin with winds of 145 miles per hour. Would not be surprised to see it become a Category 5 hurricane before all said and done. Also, we're going to take a look at the information on Tropical Storm I'm going to take a look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook for today, Tuesday, and Wednesday, as we got a little bit of severe weather to talk about over the next 3 days. Alrighty, if you're a new viewer and have not subscribed to my channel, smash that subscribe button today and you're in. You get my forecast twice per day unless something comes up. That's the only reason why sometimes I might not do a video, is because something came up I'm not able to, or my computer's messing up and I'm not able to do it. But anyway, go ahead and smash that subscribe button today. Like these videos, share these videos, and let's go ahead and get the show on the road here, folks. We got a action-packed video here we're going to be talking about. It's full of information about the tropics and also severe weather today and the next few days to come. All right, as everybody can see right here, I'm circling with my mouse. This is major Hurricane Franklin with winds of 145 miles per hour. Slowly moving off Bermuda. Let's expect rip current risk along the area beaches from Florida all the way up to Virginia today and also tomorrow as well. And then as it continues to move northward, expected from the Outer Banks of North Carolina all the way to Nova Scotia, with a lot of surf, high surf, and also flooding along coastal areas, and also high tide, also high rip current risk as well. Here's Bermuda. The storm's going to continue to move a little bit further west than what the model was showing. But you will get some, I still figured you still going to get a little bit of precipitation off of this system, maybe some gusty wind, and also some high surf around Bermuda. Alright. The other story is this here storm here developing down in the northwestern Caribbean Sea. The National Hurricane Center has marked it as a major hurricane making landfall in the Big Bend of Florida. Last night it looked kind of like it wasn't gonna develop, too quickly. But I think the longer it stays down in the Caribbean Sea and slowly works its way through the eastern Gulf of Mexico, it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, and may even become a Category 4 hurricane, possibly. I would not rule it out, and as it makes a landfall in the Big Bend region of Florida. But right now, the National Hurricane Center has a Category 3 of winds of 115 miles per hour when it makes landfall. But I would not be surprised. It may go up to 130 miles per hour making landfall. Anybody in the Big Bend area of Florida, northern Florida, anywhere from the Florida Keys, all southern central Georgia, central and eastern South Carolina, also into eastern North Carolina. This area here, you need to be on the lookout, because if this storm gets a Category 3 or 4 and moves inland, it's going to weaken some, but you're going to have in South Carolina with storm force winds in portions of South Carolina and even into North Carolina, as well as that system continues to move on off into the southeastern United States. Last night, and then early this morning, the cone shifted further to a little bit further to the south. As I mentioned something last night, the 11 a.m. advisory the last night, that the computer that the information that it wouldn't shift further back to the west. I'm giving it a shot. It may shift back to the west maybe just a little bit more, The center right now, all the computer models except the European still keeps it going right on coastal areas of South Carolina. The American model, the GFS, the Canadian model, the CMC, brings it into the Big Bend area of Florida, moves it through central and southern Georgia, into southern South Carolina, almost up to Orangeburg, South Carolina, and then moves it out kind of toward the Grand Strand, and holding it right along coastal areas. But so we'll just have to wait and see if the European right, or is it going to. So we'll just have to wait and see. I think that's why the National Hurricane Center shifted the cone back a little bit further to the west to see if the GFS is correct, or see if the GFS and the CMC is correct, or see if the European is correct. All right, that's Franklin. There's our Idalia. We got another. Just got some scattered activity spinning in the tropical Atlantic. We got a cold front extending from the North Atlantic all the way down into the southeastern United States. That's what's going to trigger some showers and storms across our area later today. Another little tropical wave here over moving toward the Leeward Island. This is that system here that the National Hurricane Center is monitoring. It's moving off the African position right now. Looks to take it mainly out to sea, but we'll have to keep an eye on it just to make sure that it do not continue to move across the Atlantic like this. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the information on Franklin. As you can see here is the satellite imagery of major hurricane Franklin. This is the center of rotation. It's got a well-structured eye wall, as you can see. Got deep convection around the system. Also got convection around the center of rotation. Looks very, very healthy. Franklin do this afternoon. All right, let's take a look at some information on Franklin. We're going to take a look at the hurricane track, and then we'll look at the computer model guidance, and then we'll look at the intensity guidance as well. All right. All right. As you can see, here's the tropical storm force winds standing all around the center. Right around behind the X, that's where the hurricane force wind. See, it becomes a major hurricane. Continues to be a major hurricane through 8 p.m. Wednesday. By 8 a.m. Thursday, should be back down to a Category 2 hurricane, and then back down to a Category 1 or 2, and then a post-tropical hurricane or cyclone towards 8 a.m. Saturday. All right, if you're tracking this system at home, the center of location is located near latitude 28.1 north, longitude 71.1 west. Maximum sustained winds 145 miles per hour. Movement is to the north at 9 miles per hour. Major hurricane is 110 miles per hour to 155 miles per hour. 156 plus is a Category 5 hurricane. When it gets to 155, it's a Category 4, strong Category 4, bordering Category 5. Well, 155, and like I said, then 156 plus would be a Category 5 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. All right. Now let's take a look. And then we're going to take a look at the intensity guidance, and then we're going to start talking about Idalia. All right, here's the center of the storm here, located in the middle here. Here's Bermuda. Still, most of the activity still going to be to the north. That's a pretty big storm. You probably will get some tropical storm force winds off of it. I would not be surprised. So Bermuda, you need to be on the lookout for possible some tropical storm force wind. All right, now, as it goes on up towards there's St. John's Island, you may get a little bit of, off of this system if it goes to the north. If it stays to the south, y'all will be a-okay. So that's why the Hurricane Center got it kind of going a wide ball out here, because the computer model is kind of going a little bit lengthy on where the storm could go. All right, intensity guidance of Hurricane Franklin, major Hurricane Franklin. See right now, it's a Category 4. Some of the models do take it up almost to a Category 5 in the next 12 hours or so. That's why I said it could reach that Category 5 status. I would not be surprised. And then it starts weakening it down to tropical, just a tropical storm and a tropical depression over the next 144 hours out. All right. Now here's the big story here, closer to home, for everybody here in the southeastern United States. This is going to be our Idalia. Try to get it uploaded, let the imagery kind of download here, and we will take a look at Idalia. Okay, that's almost done, 70%. As you can see, Idalia is getting a little better organized this afternoon. I was 100% now, so here we go, folks. It should be, here we go. It's already ready. All right, as you can see here, Idalia looks pretty well healthy. Got a lot of good convection in night and in the middle of the system. Still got those tropical storm warnings over here for you guys in the portions of the Yucatan. But most of the action is going to be right over here in Cuba and heading toward the Florida Keys and the west side of Florida. All right, let's move on to the information on Idalia. Okay, here's the new information at 1 p.m. this afternoon. As you can see here, here's the tropical storm force wind. We still got tropical, we got a hurricane. We still got tropical storm warnings here for you guys here in the portion of northwest of Caribbean Island, also the Yucatan Peninsula. Still keeps it as a hurricane through 2 p.m. I would not be surprised to see it maybe an EM put here as a major hurricane, and then another major hurricane as it makes landfall. The track is shifted a little bit further to the west. That's what I was talking about. They're going with the European. The European has shifted back a little bit to the west too. It hugged the coast of South Carolina. But like I said, the GFS and the Canadian takes a little bit further to the west, kind of about right at here, and then it moves it over to about right here, and then it kind of moves it almost close to where the tropical storm moves out near the Grand Strand region of South Carolina, and then may affect Bermuda as well. That's what I mentioned in other earlier forecasts. I think on Saturday I said Bermuda may get affected by this storm. I would not be surprised. Alright, but if you're tracking this storm at home for Idalia, this is the latitude. It's located near latitude, once again, 21.2 north, longitude 85.1 west. Maximum sustained winds right now at 70 miles per hour. And ain't but as soon as it gets to 74 miles per hour, 75 miles per hour, it will become a hurricane. It should become a hurricane later this evening as it passes Cuba. So I would not be surprised tonight, sometime maybe the 5 p.m. advisory or the 11 p.m. advisory tonight, it will become a hurricane. So, and then continue to move on off to the north. As you can see, 2 a.m. Tuesday should be located here. 2 p.m. Tuesday be right here. 7 a.m. Wednesday, that's when it's going to be making landfall here. 7 p.m. Wednesday, tropical storm should be down in southeast Georgia or southern South Carolina. And then moving out to sea here Thursday morning. And then over here by Saturday, near Bermuda by Saturday. Alrighty. And like I said, this is the information here on this storm. Alright, let's take a look at the computer model guidance here. Like I said, they have slightly shifted back to the west. This is the current position. Still takes it through the Big Bend, because earlier this morning I looked at them. The model runs had it kind of compacted. And last night too, some of the computer models had it going down South Florida, but it's pushing it a little bit further back to the west now. So that's why anybody across southeast Georgia, southeast South Carolina, you need to be on the lookout for this storm as it continues to move up this way. There will be tweaks to the forecast. I would not be surprised to see this thing move a little bit further to the west, maybe wiggle to the east, maybe wiggle back to the west. So over the next couple of advisories ahead, so just give it. They're gonna give it wiggle room, so that way when more data comes in, they'll give it a little bit more wiggle room for this system to either go to the right or go to the left. So that's what they'll keep a check on as well. All right, now let's take a look at the GEF ensemble. I want to look at that real quick, show you all that. All right, so the GEF ensembles has already done shifted it back over almost the PD region of South Carolina now, and most of the models now has shifted back a little bit to the west as well. That's why I'm thinking now. Last night I was thinking it might not go back to the west, but I'm thinking now it could wiggle back to the west a little bit further in time. So I would not be surprised to see that cone shift a little bit further. Maybe the edge of the cone could even get Charlotte, North Carolina later on down the road. All right, let's take a look at the intensity guidance of the storm. All right, most of them right now, like it says, showing it almost a Category 1 hurricane, 55 knots. That's about 70 miles per hour wind, still strong tropical storm. Like I said, see, most of the models do take it up to a Category 1 to almost a 2. If the storm stays a little weaker, the storm may go a little further to the west. If it's a little stronger, it will move off to the east. So if this thing stays if it moves up into a Category 2, just remains a Category 2, it will remain weak, and it may go a little further to the west. If it gets into a Category 3 or 4, it may move a little further to the east. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. But it takes it up to a Category 3 when it moves on land. See, it drops it off dramatically down to just to a tropical storm and to a tropical depression later on down the road. All right, that's your tropical weather update. Let's move on to the watches, warning, and advisory map for your location across the nation. As you can see here, we got a flash flood warning for portions of New York State, coastal flood advisory up here around the Washington, D.C. area. Also some flood advisory, flood warning in effect. Also up here in portions of Virginia and also North Carolina. Got a flood warning for you guys here in Virginia. We got some fire weather watches here for portions of Oregon. Red flag warnings there in portions of Oregon State. Also some air quality alerts, some wind advisory for portions of Northern Oregon, portions of Washington State. Also, we got some heat advisory, excessive heat warnings for Southern California and also Southern Nevada and southwest southern portions of Arizona. Some flood watches in effect for you guys in portions of New Mexico. Still got a heat advisory for South Texas all the way over towards Alabama and also the Panhandle of Florida. Also include Mississippi and southern Louisiana. Says a heat warning for a couple counties there in southeast Texas. Special weather statement there in South Texas as well. All right. We got some hurricane statements also for portions of Mississippi, Alabama, Panhandle, Florida, southern Georgia. Also over across eastern portions of Florida. Tropical storm watches also in effect for the coastal waters. Also a few counties inland right along the coastal areas of Florida as well, from Jacksonville almost down to just past Orlando, Florida. Also, we got some hurricane tropical storm warnings also in effect for portions of Florida. Hurricane warnings in the pink, and hurricane watches in the pink. Hurricane warnings right along coastal areas, and also this is hurricane and tropical storm warning here as well in the coastal waters. Tropical storm warnings down south. Tropical storm warning, hurricane warnings in the Atlantic Ocean because of major Hurricane Franklin. All right, storm warnings to the north, also along coastal areas there of Alaska. We got some flood watches in effect for northern and southern portions of Alaska. Gale, maybe some special weather statements. Hawaii and Chain Island looks a-okay. All right, we're going to take a look at some severe weather for today. General thunderstorms expected from portions of New York State down to the Florida Keys, back to Texas. Also to New Mexico, Arizona, all the way back to Montana. Also into Oregon and Washington State. Marginal risk down there from Louisiana into the Carolinas. All right, if you live in Charlotte, North Carolina, New Orleans, Louisiana, Atlanta, Georgia, Raleigh, North Carolina, Birmingham, Alabama, marginal risk for severe weather this afternoon. Hail, less than 2% in all areas. Main threat would be damaging winds, 5%. Same area from Charlotte, North Carolina, to New Orleans, Louisiana, Atlanta, Georgia, Raleigh, North Carolina, Birmingham, Alabama for this afternoon. All right, let's move on to your Tuesday forecast from the Storm Prediction Center. All right, we got general thunderstorm from Maine all the way down to Louisiana and Texas, also down in West Texas, back over to New Mexico and Arizona. Also over here in portions of Oregon and Washington State. Also back into Montana, we got a marginal risk over in portions of Washington State, Oregon, Idaho, and portions of Montana. Also down in southeast Georgia, down in the Florida Keys, there's that slight risk for severe weather on your Tuesday. Here's that tornado probability, 2% over the Florida area, north and southern Georgia, central Florida, 2% there as well in the Big Bend region area of Florida. That's because of tropical storm Idalia, which will become Hurricane Idalia later today. Winds, 5% in the brown areas. This includes Jacksonville, Florida, Miami, Florida, Tampa, Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida, Haley, Florida. Let's see, it ain't show. There, here we go. All right, if you're in the 5% area, this includes Tampa, Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida, Gainesville, hail probability, 5% in the brown. This includes Spokane, Washington, Marcella, Montana, Lewiston, Idaho, Opportunity, Washington, and Pullman. Let's take a look at day 3, because we do have more severe weather to talk about, thanks to tropical storm Adelia. Okay, should be coming up here shortly. Alright, we got general thunderstorm from Maine down to portions of Connecticut, New York State. Also from portions of Virginia down to portions of Florida, and also down to Louisiana. Again, over here in New Mexico and Arizona, all the way up to Montana, and also into South Dakota, North Dakota, and portions of Idaho as well. We got a marginal risk of severe weather extending from the Outer Banks of North Carolina through eastern South Carolina down to the Big Bend area of Florida, down to central and southern Florida. There's that slight risk of severe weather extending from coastal South Carolina all the way down into southeast Georgia, northern Florida as well. If you're in the slight risk area, this includes Jacksonville, Florida, Orlando, Florida, Savannah, Georgia, Gainesville, Florida, and Charleston, South Carolina for a slight risk on Wednesday. Marginal risk, and this includes Tampa, Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida, Clearwater, Florida, Spring Hill, Florida, Wilmington, North Carolina for a marginal risk. Probability should be 5%. Well, right now they just got it 5%. This includes Jacksonville, Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida, Orlando, Florida, and Savannah, Georgia. 5% risk for severe weather at this time. Alright, well, that was a long video, action-packed, full of information. So I hope everybody gets some information out of this system. Everybody continue to stay safe and well. Also enjoy the weather, because the only weather you got. Like these videos, share these videos, consider subscribing, and we'll catch you back in the next video. So have a great Monday afternoon, folks.